The basketball addicts are back at it, breaking down the big series in the East. I called it a big series, but now, after a 109-108 final, are you guys reconsidering this series? Like, what's your take on Cavs-Pacers? Dan, I'll start with
Well, I'll follow up with what I said last week. I said Indiana and Chicago are really tough seeds for 7 and 8. And I said the Cavs would win the series, but it would take 7. Indiana's playoff tested. They have Paul George. The Cavs are kind of iffy. And no, I'm not reconsidering at all. I think this is going to be a good, long series.
Jason, you're a believer in the Pacers' chances to oust the 2 seed, which is actually the 1 seed?
No, there's no way at all the Pacers are going to win.
No, you don't think they stand a chance?
No.
What you saw in Game 1?
It could go to 7 games, but they're going to lose the series. Like, I don't get caught up in numbers. I know a lot of people like to say
I can't
5.
I can't even count.
It's ridiculous. You never know what's going to. But that's
Case in
tough.
point.
But when it comes down to it, it's like it doesn't matter how many games. And actually, I think the Cavs would be better off with a longer series because they got a lot of stuff they got to figure out.
Okay.
And it would be good for them to be up
interesting.
against a team like the Pacers because if they end up sweeping through the Pacers or getting through in 5, then they're sitting around and waiting for somebody. I think the Cavs could be primed for a second round upset, being knocked out in the second round, depending who their matchup is, if they don't get things figured out in that first round. But there's that was my thought. No, but that was my thought. I don't want to say that to Raps fans, but if the Bucks get past the Raps, they could give the Cavs all kinds of trouble in the second round.
Wow, there's so much goodness that came out of that little.
You should have me on more often, man.
I think Toronto. You're hired.
But,
Can you host the show?
Hey, you're fired, by the way. Can we just put that out there? But quickly, let's talk about the final shot, because that was really the moment to define this game. You suspect Paul George, it's your moment, but Cavs did a brilliant job of shooting 2 defenders at him. Paul claims he should have got the final shot back, but first off, walk us through this final play. Kashif.
Here's the thing. C.J. Miles had the ball. He's looking at Paul George. He looked him off. He had the open shot. Take the open shot. Because at the end of the day, if you're open, you got to shoot the ball. If he gave it to Paul George...
So who are you saying should have shot the ball, Paul George or C.J. Miles?
I'd rather have Paul George, but
he was double teamed.
Exactly. So let Miles shoot the ball, man. And he was open.
Oh, that wasn't Miles' shot. Miles' shot is a wide open 3 off the pass.
But you know what? But
you don't
George
want
wasn't
Miles.
open. George wasn't open.
You got to get him the ball, and he's got to get open.
At the end of the day, you guys
Paul
have the
George.
ball.
Where does okay, so time out. So we're saying a lot of things here. Where does the fault lie? Because I believe, just like Michael Jordan kicking it out to
Paxson, Steve
Kerr, it wouldn't even matter that Paul George made the right read. Are we disagreeing?
Well, I'm on Paul George because he missed Lance Stevenson along the baseline there.
Okay.
I mean, it was tough. There's guys on either side. Maybe the ball doesn't get through, right?
He made one of 2 possible reads.
Exactly. Yeah. But he should have went down low, but he didn't. But the fact that he wanted the ball back, okay, fine. So on the broadcast, you see him get upset that he doesn't get the ball back. So everyone knows that he's upset at a teammate. Then he comes out in the post game and throws his teammate under the bus.
That's terrible.
Paul George, I cannot believe that you would do that. It's obvious that it's the playoffs. There's a million cameras there. We all know that you're upset that he took the shot. You need to come out, and the first thing you need to say is, I want him to shoot that shot if he's open.
Yeah, first off, I just like to point out that he didn't get open. Paul George did not shed the double
No,
team
absolutely
to
not.
come back to the ball and ask that
He
ball
moved
out.
towards midcourt.
Someone else who had a comment about that final play is LeBron James, a guy who is no stranger to controversy, no stranger to last-second shots. And he says there's 2 guys on the ball. That means there's a 4-on-3. You have your numbers. So if you're the best player on the floor, that doesn't mean you have to take the shot. And a lot of times you talk about LeBron James, he is one of the best decoys in the game. He allows Kyrie, he allows Shump, he allows guys to get shots.
He doesn't allow
up.
Shump.
Well, maybe
he
not
allows
Shump.
Kyrie.
Kyrie, Kevin.
What it says to you is the confidence that Paul George has
in
his
group.
teammates.
But he didn't have no confidence, though.
Yeah. Exactly. That's my point. Yeah. He doesn't have confidence in C.J. Miles taking that shot, and quite frankly, neither do I. Like I said, that's not C.J. Miles' shot. But it's true. How many game-winning shots does C.J. Miles have?
You have to go with whatever the best shot is. Whoever has the best look,
no, not in
go
this
with that
situation.
shot. And you gotta have
not
faith.
in this situation. You don't just have faith. It's the playoffs.
So would you rather have Paul George get the ball and dash it up the 3-point line?
Absolutely.
Paul George would have.
What?
And here's why you would have.
Absolutely.
Are you kidding me, Dan?
I'm not kidding. You want your big money guy taking the shot.
I agree with Dan on that.
You'd rather have a dash up.
Wait.
Because nice set shot.
Because you want Paul George to resign.
He's gonna resign anyways.
He's not resigning. He's going to LA. Are you tripping?
Are you kidding me?
You want to win the game. You want your best player taking
Listen,
the
they're-
biggest shot, no matter who's on him.
Taking the
That
best
and
shot.
the fallout
The
of
best
him
shot
taking
is
shots at
Paul
his
George
teammates.
taking
No,
that
no,
shot.
I think
the
he's
best
gone.
shot.
Oh,
is
yeah.
that.
No, it's obvious
Oh,
that
yeah.
he's gone.
He's gone.
Why would you come out in game one? You still have an entire series to go with this team, and you come out in game one and throw your teammate under
Oh,
the
that's
bus?
a-
Like, that
that's
is
a difference.
ridiculous.
He
They're
shouldn't
going to
have
lose
done
the
that.
next. Two
Shouldn't
things
have
are
done
going to happen.
that.
They're going to lose the next game by 20 to the Cavs, or it's going to be a tight game, and he's going to get the double team, and he's going to launch a ridiculous shot that's not going to come close to going in, and everyone's going to look at him in the postgame and
We
say,
don't know that.
now what do you have
He
to
will
say?
hit the winning
All right,
shot.
well, before we
Paul George.
Before we bury the Pacers, let's move on to the MVP series, the 6-3 matchup out in the Western Conference. You got WrestleMania versus the Cook. Game 1 did not go the way of the Thunder. So, my question is, can Russell Westbrook win this series on his own?
Well, it went the way of your MVP.
Yes!
I mean, we're seeing what happens in the playoffs. The better team wins. The better team's going to win this series, and it's by far Houston. I mean, what's Russ supposed to do with this collection of players? It shows you how amazing it is that they won the 47 games and had as successful a regular season as they did, with really a roster that just doesn't have what it takes. And on the Houston side, that's a really good team. I mean, they're just going to.
So we're all
Better off-
breeze.
totally.
We're all in
better off
complete
paper.
agreement. They don't stand a snowball's chance in Hades.
Yeah.
No, I think they can have a chance to win some games in the series, but the way that they're going to have to do that is they're going to have to get their bigs involved because that's where they have the advantage. Right?
My next question was: is there any who is the next person that needs to have?
Well,
a
it's
huge
three
series?
guys. It's three guys. It's Taj Gibson,
Yep.
Adams,
Robertson.
Robertson, and Steven Adams.
Hey, how about Robertson?
Well, he's got to defend
Robertson.
Harden through it. Like,
To me, he's the X factor.
yeah,
in this game.
but he wasn't even close on offense in the last game. Like, it was,
Last game he had what 16 or
yeah,
18?
but I mean, if you're talking about, that's why you have to look at three guys, because the three guys, at least you could spread out 50 points and maybe 25 rebounds on
Okay.
those guys. If you can get, but then they
But those
got
are all
destroyed.
2-point baskets.
Their
Houston's
biggest-
just gonna
Yeah,
crank
but that
threes.
also
It's
is
gonna
rebounding,
negate
because
it.
the biggest problem there was they were sticking with the Rockets' three-point shooters, right?
Yes.
Which is why they got killed on the glass, especially in the first half. So they need to make adjustments again, where their bigs are not only going to get those 2-point baskets, they're also going to be able to rebound a lot better.
Sounds like they need to go smaller to me, based
Jason
on what
Tom
you
trying
just
to
said.
drop gems here on the couch. I respect it. I like your opinion. And quickly, I just want to say, no one mentioned Victor Oladipo, their big free
Because he's
agent
trash.
acquisition. Thank you. I like him.
'Cause he's
Good
what?
point.
Victor
Trash.
Oladipo is being exposed as a very poor basketball player right
All
now.
right.
not a
With
poor
that said,
guy.
we got to go to break.
Just
We
not a
gotta
top
Go,
caliber.
no, it's fair.
Go to
Make
break.
A lot of money for a guy who's not top caliber guy.
Yeah, 'cause he
we got to
played
go
for
to
Orlando.
break. Still more to come on Canada's home for talking hoops. An emotional moment in Boston. We send our thoughts and condolences to IT and his family. A rough time for them, but the kids showed up huge. We'll break that game down when we return here on The Hangouts.